All right, so maybe you've noticed it in the news, or maybe you've felt it yourself, the big tech exodus. Workers in tech companies, startups, and beyond are leaving their jobs at a growing rate. But why? Is it just burnout and stress? Or is there something deeper at play? Today, we're going to break it all down and give you a closer look at the real reasons behind this massive shift. Here's the thing. I still love coding. I've been doing it for years. And every time I sit down to design a solution to code something, I feel a spark. It's like solving a puzzle. I'm not just writing lines of code. I'm bringing ideas, creating something that wasn't there before. And that's a feeling I can't get enough of. Whether it's building apps, fixing problems, or pushing boundaries of what's possible. There's no rush like it. I love that constant flow of learning. Figuring out new languages, mastering frameworks, and constantly evolving as a developer. Coding isn't just my job. It's my passion, my purpose, my way of thinking. But lately, things have changed. What used to be about creativity and innovation now feels like a system that's slowly draining the life out of it. The grind is relentless. And what's worse is that business seems to be dictating how we approach our work rather than presenting us with a problem and letting us figure out the best solution. Instead of focusing on the artistry of engineering, we're stuck following rigid processes that take the fun out of it. It's no longer about creating something from the ground up, but about hitting business goals and meeting deadlines. I know. It's about making money. It pays my salary and I get it. But that's just it, isn't it? When you're spending more time managing projects, hitting targets, and chasing deadlines and actually solving problems or experimenting with new ideas, it's hard not to feel like a cog in the machine. The excitement of creating something from nothing, of pushing boundaries fades when the focus shifts solely on profitability. And the worst part, the pressure to perform often means that creativity gets sacrificed in favor of doing things the right way, not the best way. The culture has shifted too. We're no longer focused on shipping something that's well tested and ready to go. Instead, we're pushed to hit deadlines no matter what. The rush to deliver often means cutting corners, overlooking details, and compromising on quality. After all, in an industry that demands constant innovation and high performance, it's easy to see how burnout can become a reality. So let's dive into one of the biggest struggles people face in the tech world today, burnout. It's a silent force that slowly eats away at your motivation, leaving you drained and questioning if it's all worth it. It's no secret, the tech industry has a pretty brutal work culture. Long hours, high demands, and a constant need to perform. It's like running a marathon but never reaching the finish line. And over time, it wears you down. Many workers are saying enough is enough. One survey found that 70% of employees in tech feel like they're constantly on the edge of burnout. And let's be real, when your job drains you mentally and physically, it's hard to stay motivated no matter how much you love what you do. Speaking of personal life, work-life balance is a huge factor. Tech companies often demand round-the-clock availability, and that takes a toll. family, friends, hobbies, all pushed aside. It feels like you're either glued to your desk or doing nothing at all. Over time, that starts to wear you down. And more people are walking away because they want to take the time to actually live, not just work. How many of you lie in bed still thinking about solving problems when you're supposed to be sleeping? Yep, that's me. It's no surprise. When your mind's constantly running, it's hard to turn off. They push you until you're on the brink of burnout. They know you're not a quiet quitter. They know you'll push through no matter what the challenge because that's what we do in this industry. But eventually, something's got to give. We've talked about the toll work-life balance can take. But there's another factor that's driving people out of the tech industry: toxic work environment. It's one of the biggest reasons people are quitting, and honestly, it's no surprise. Tech companies are full of high expectations, and sometimes that leads to unhealthy office cultures. Whether it's toxic bosses who never seem to trust you, constant micromanaging, or lack of respect for employees, it can be overwhelming. Over time, it gets to the point where negativity builds and builds. And the job starts to feel like a pressure cooker. The constant pressure, the feeling like you're walking on eggshells every day, never knowing what kind of mood your boss will be in, it wears you down. It's not just about doing the work anymore. It's about surviving the environment. A team that lacks cohesion, where no one really helps or supports each other, only contributes to the feeling of isolation. That emotional strain chips away at you day by day, making even the smallest tasks feel impossible. So we've talked about the emotional toll of working in a toxic environment. But what about the fear of losing your job altogether? Outsourcing and automation are making workers feel more insecure than ever. It's one thing to deal with stress within a toxic workplace, but it's another entirely when you feel like your job could be taken away at any moment. Our homes, our cars, our daily expenses, all of these are tied to our jobs. It feels incredibly unfair when companies can just take away the very means we rely on to support our basic needs. The last thing I want to talk about is that people are leaving because they want something more meaningful. The tech world is full of innovation, but let's face it, it can also feel like you're just building the next app to sell ad space. Many people are asking themselves, is this all that there is? And for some, the answer is no. They want work that feels purposeful, work that helps people, changes lives, or even makes the world a little better. In fact, a significant portion of workers report being emotionally detached from their jobs, with nearly 30% saying they feel actively disengaged. Many workers in tech feel especially disconnected as the focus often shifts to financial gains rather than societal impact. Additionally, more than half of employees in the tech industry are seeking roles that offer more meaning and align with their personal values rather than simply offering higher salaries. This shift is becoming more pronounced, with many workers looking for careers that allow them to contribute to something bigger than themselves. So what do you think? Are you feeling that burnout too? Or maybe you've already left tech for a new path. Or maybe you can't afford to make the change, or just keeping your head down, telling yourself you're almost there. Whether that's retirement or finding a new path. I'd love to hear your story. What made you decide to stay? Or what pushed you to make a change? Whether you're moving forward or just holding on, your experience might really help someone who's going through the same thing. Don't wait. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. and let's start a conversation. If you've found a new meaningful career path, tell us about it. To wrap things up, the tech industry isn't what it used to be. People are leaving for all sorts of reasons: burnout, toxic cultures, lack of work-life balance, job insecurity, and a search for purpose. If you're thinking about making the leap, just know this is a struggle a lot of people are experiencing right now. It's a tough journey, but it's worth it when you take that step towards something more fulfilling. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so that you don't miss out on any real talk about career growth and navigating industry shifts. I've got more coming your way. And remember, wherever your journey takes you, make sure it's one you're proud of.